You are listening to the Hello Sport Podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Hello Sport Podcast, home of unqualified opinion and unwavering bias. We are ripping and tearing on the interview front at the moment, Edward. We're fucking killing it with the greatest respect to ourselves. Another guest in today, rugby league champion player for the Melbourne Storm, Queensland, which we won't hold against him, at least for the time of this interview. Born and raised in the great state of New South Wales in Sydney. Fan of the show, friend of the show, the one and only Christian Welch. How are you, our New South Wales brethren?
Good to be here, boys. I just want to clarify for the listeners. I was born in Sydney. My parents realised the mistake. Got out of this shit joint before I turned one. So I wasn't raised here. I was up in the far north Queensland worshipping the Cowboys. So
Really?
had a very Queensland-centric
You've got to check on your Wikipedia. They were like moved to Queensland at 20.
25 even.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was late. Yeah,
Sure about that?
Because we were getting turncoat vibes. We were like, holy shit, Christian's a turncoat.
Yeah, no wonder Dio Dave loves him so
That's why
much.
Dio Dave loves you, like worships you. He's got posters in his bedroom and shit.
Yeah.
It all started to fall into place. So I don't know if I believe you or Wikipedia.
Yeah, I think Wikipedia, at this point, I'm going with them, but that's all right. Thanks for coming in anyway. How you doing, man? Like, you're off-season, you're in Sydney for a little while. How long are you here for?
Going out Monday, yeah. My brother, Brendan, I'm sure you appreciate a shout-out.
Shout out to Brendan, yeah.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
And all the boys. They're big Hello Sport fans. And kind of early days for the boys, you know, before they hit Hollywood and going into the big studios here. So, yeah, good to be here. Good to catch up with some mates.
So we were just talking on the way. He's Christian friends with Hello Sport legends, royalty, Big Tasty and the Tasty Boys. I thought that you just bumped into him because you left a dribble on the hotline, which we kindly didn't play for your own sake the other day.
Yeah, I don't want Lussick offering me out. He's a big boy.
He is
Throw
big.
hands.
He can throw
I'm
them.
not going to take that fight.
But so, Tasty. How do you know the Tasty Boys?
The Tasty Boys, yeah, we're high school, went to the same school. Big Tasty, we played in the same footy team. He's actually quite athletic. He's quite a good rugby player. I know he's got a bit of anyway, I'm not going to try and
Anonymity?
say that word. Yeah. No, he's a good fella. And it was his birthday on the weekend, so happy birthday,
Happy
Big
birthday,
Tasty.
Big Tasty.
Did he feel like calling the dribbler hotline, Big Tasty, or is he done his dash now? Because I don't know if he's called back.
I think he called back once because he went missing, and we were like, "What happened to Big Tasty?" It was like that was the.
We were genuinely concerned about it because
Yeah.
he came in and made such a scene, made so much noise.
But the Tasty Boys was Ghosty, or was it Ghosty, Fumes, and Guava Lover?
And wasn't there another one who kept getting forgotten?
There was a fridge or frog?
Was the one that sent us the Manly Seagulls golf bags? I think was like the fourth Tasty Boy that we.
Was that
weren't.
Mayghosty?
Maybe
I
that
think
was
that
Ghosty.
was.
That's Ghosty. He's a
That
golfer.
It was Fumes and Guava Lover, and then Ghosty had to call in, being like, "Oi, I was there too.
Yeah.
Like, so sorry.
Don't cut me out.
Sorry about that." But he became a living legend for a while. He still is.
No, he is. He was huge. But look, I mean, for those of you that don't know, he called the dribbler hotline a year or two ago and left like 40 hours worth of dribbles, which we'd never had before. And we listened to all of them, and it was a fucking nightmare.
We released its own podcast.
Yeah.
Of all his dribbles, unadulterated.
It was full on. Anyway, so what have you been doing so far in the off season? Obviously, bubble life. Unfortunate into the season, and then you're out. You're free. You've been ripping and tearing, or you just been taking it easy?
Yeah, having a good off season. Haven't been videoed sent on any tables yet, so it's been productive. And I just having a good time back home in Brizzy with my schoolmates and family, and road tripped up. The Cheese, his family lives in Brisbane, so we got on the roadie and we played golf in Coffs Harbour, Bonneville there, and come into Sydney, and we're here for a week, and then road tripping again to Melbourne along the coast. So yeah, happy days.
What, you and Cheese together?
He's coming to Sydney. He's doing I think he toured all NRL clubs in Brisbane, so now he needs to obviously tick off the New South Wales ones.
He's getting wine dined in 69 by the Roosters at the moment.
He's too smart. Yeah.
He's good. He's out there playing golf
He's staying
with
on
all
a
the
bit
boys.
longer. So
He what?
he's staying on in Sydney a bit longer. He's got a charity event and a few other
Well,
things.
there's plenty of clubs you got to get 69 by in Sydney. Is that a nine?
When there's 69s on the table, you got to
they're
fucking
going,
get them.
you gotta take
You
'em.
got to get them while they're going. Do you have any insight? You're gonna out your
Scoops?
boy?
No scoops,
No,
boys.
I'm sure not. I'm sure.
Yeah, I think the Storm are a good chance. Hopefully he stays, but
Yeah.
I think maybe the Roosters and Redcliffe are pretty keen as well.
Do you keep out of like each other's business with that sort of shit, or as friends you kind of like, oh, what are you thinking?
Oh, yeah, a little bit like that, but also I think you're just happy for them.
Yeah.
You don't know how long you're going to play footy for, and
Definitely.
if they get a good deal, set themselves up, it's pretty good for them.
Would you ever feel the need to like give some sort of motivational speech as to why he should stay at Melbourne?
Oh, jeez.
Like if you saw that he was really touch or go, would you go, mate, let's go get a beer
I could
and
just win him over? Yeah, I would do that if I could, but he's pretty. He knows what he's doing, so I'm sure he'll come to it.
Have you debuted with the Storm?
Yep.
And have you how long have you been down there for?
End of 2012 when I was 18. Yeah, so a while.
Wow.
9
Okay.
years,
So
I
for a
think,
while. And
couple
have you
weeks
ever
ago.
been close to going anywhere else? Have you had other clubs? that sort of
I was pretty close to going to Parramatta in when was it? It was 2019.
Must be glad you didn't.
No, Parramatta's a good club.
Shut up.
I actually said to my manager, let's get it done. I flew up there, met Brad
really?
Arthur and all them, and agreed to, verbally agreed to terms and that. And then it was around 20, and I literally called my manager on the Thursday and said, yeah, let's get it done. We were playing the Bronx at Suncorp on the Friday night. And then I did my ACL in that game, and then kind of got radio silence from Para. Obviously, they weren't too keen, which is fair enough. I get that. It was my second ACL, so they brushed me, which is fair enough. And they went and got Campbell Gillard. So I think it was a win-win for them, and then come back and we won the Premiership in 2020. So it was a good result.
It's fucking ruthless though. Like that's because if you'd bailed, you could be painted as an asshole. Do you know what I mean?
But I understand. Like I think you look at Para and the years before they had some bad deals and some bad. And they're obviously risk averse now. So I got it. I understood it. It's not personal.
When you say they go radio silent, do they just not pick up the phone?
Like literally,
they just go, oh nah, or are they like, or do they just go, listen, mate, 2 ACLs, not the right fit for us, yada yada yada. We don't want to get burnt.
Yeah.
Or do they just do what every other human being does and just ignore it and just wait till it goes away?
Yeah. Well, I guess the term's called ghosting. I think I got ghosted by
that's
Para.
exactly what you mean.
Fuck.
But I think they just assumed that that I would assume that it's all over, which is fair enough. So we kind of moved on and got on the flight.
It's worked out perfectly for you.
Yeah, no, it's been good.
2 ACLs. I mean, and then there was the time where you thought you'd done it a third time, hey? Just after you came back.
Oh, just for my second, yeah.
So did you do it again? Did you do it? Come back, thought you did it, didn't do it, then did it again?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah, so.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Same knee?
No, left and right. So,
Beautiful. Love that.
I haven't done the same one twice. Which is
Yeah,
good.
right.
They come back. Do they come back better?
Yeah, they're meant
My
to.
mate
yeah.
did my ACL and the doctor was like, mate, this thing will be tip top.
Yeah, they're meant to come back stronger, but it's just such a long process because like you'd rather break your leg or break your arm because it's bone, whereas they're literally cutting a tendon out of you. Like I got quad tendon and they chuck it in your knee, and then the body needs to accept it, so it takes so long.
And then what, does your quad like grow more tendon? Is that sort of how that works?
I don't know if it grows or it makes up for it. Yeah, I actually don't know that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How's it go then with Melbourne? So you like obviously you say Parramatta ghosted you in brackets. Thank fuck for that because they're never winning a comp. But like, do you feel anxious just in your place even at Melbourne at that point where you're like a bit like Jesus Christ, this is 2 of them sort of a bit hairy?
Yeah, all the time. Like coming back. So I had an option, so I took that up. Come back in 2020 from ACL second one, and like every game you're thinking I'm going to do my ACL here, like. And I was like, I need to get a deal. I need to every time I run out, I had so much head noise. But you kind of talk to people. I went and saw a sports psychologist and they're like don't pretend it's not there because it's a reality that you face. But they're just like, right, what are you going to do if you do it? And I was like, I've always wanted to go to Japan. So my psychologist, Jackie, she was like, right, have a plan. If you do your ACL, don't worry about surgery or anything. You just go to Japan for a month, go have a holiday and we'll sort it out when you get back. And it's just like, I don't know. I think you just accept the reality, but but it also, it hurts a bit like when contracts are coming up and you kind of like you're on this income, and then if you do your knee, you're right down here, your career's over. But if you play well, you can kick through. So it's so volatile.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. So like when they're doing contracts, are they just taking a snapshot of like where you're at that point in time, as opposed to this is your potential, this is what he could be? Are they more just going, well, he's playing well at the moment. Yeah. He hasn't had an ACL injury, so his price is here. As opposed to maybe 4 or 5 bad games.
Yeah.
Would that affect your negotiation?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think, and like, I'm lucky I'm in a good system, play with good players, good forwards. So I understand. I'm not stupid. It's like, it's tough going for those guys in clubs that struggle a bit to like look good because it's such a team effort. So, and especially if you're at the top end of the table, like you see Para and Penrith, they're struggling to hold on to guys because they've had such success recently, and that's just how the salary cap works.
But you guys managed to largely, even though you've got like your Munsters and your Cheeses and shit who are getting, like the Dolphins are interested in everyone, but like you guys do seem to be able to manage it well. Do you guys have any fucking idea about the cap for the club, or is it just like there's no sort of visibility for you guys in how that's all run, or after the shit fight of whenever it was you do?
No, you don't really know, but like every year we lose 3 or 4 kind of guys in our 17, including the big 3. So they're that's a lot of salary off your list, and then you're replacing with guys who have come down at 18 and they've done pre-seasons and they're not really a known commodity. Like you look at Harry Grant, like we knew he was an outstanding player. He's a gun, but he'd been behind Cameron Smith for 3 or 4 years playing Q Cup away from everyone. And he goes to West Tigers and everyone's like, oh, look at this guy. And it's like, the Storm aren't stupid either. Like they know Harry Grant's going to be a gun. They know Cameron Munster's going to be a gun. So they'll talk to him. As soon as Munster come down there, he signed from CQ Capras. They put him on like a 3 or 4 year deal straight away, and he's just taken that. So I think the Storm, and they're really smart at like keeping guys off from, I suppose, talking to the market. Like they will upgrade them and extend. And the boys are happy to stay there because you're winning footy. It's a good club. Yeah. But I think the trouble is, it's like other clubs, they let them get to November 1 and, it's very topical. It's
crazy,
and then
right?
someone puts a crazy bid in and you're pretty much gone.
Yeah, so they just keep them off the table, table.
Yeah, it's smart. But then also there's risk in that. Like if you extend a guy and you take a bit of a punt, it can come back to bite you. But like you look at like when Knight signed Ponga, like I think he played 10, 15 games and he got that huge deal at Knights. Everyone's going, holy, like is it worth it? Like that's been the best thing for that club.
Yeah. Mate, I know.
One of the great signings.
Yeah.
And now they're going to be...
And now they're up against it. Now they're up against it in a
Pierce
big way.
goes, they're not playing well.
Fucking hell.
Ponga
hold your
comps.
breath. If you're a Knights fan, hold your breath because if you lose Ponga, it's all over. Who runs recruitment down at Storm? Because they do a fucking good job. Is it Bellamy or is there someone behind the scenes? It's just...
Nah, it's... And that's
like the scouts and stuff? Yeah. Like who's pulling all these young Queensland kids into whoever? What's your feeder side in Q Cup?
East Tigers and Sunny Coast Falcons.
So pulling them into there and then pulling them down south.
Yeah,
they've got a great eye.
Like Bellamy's an outstanding coach. Like I think everyone knows that, but there's so much more into why that club's successful. Like the football manager Frank Panisi's been there for 10, 15 years, and the role he does, recruitment, identifying the right people to come in. He doesn't really do any of the recruitment. I think he comes in when they're trying to sign maybe an established player. He likes to meet a player.
Flops the hog out.
Them. Yeah, so...
Crazy.
This is what you'll be working with.
Yeah. That'd get me over the line. Is that what it's like for you? Like, what was, I guess, your experience? So when you were a young fella playing in Queensland, did you have many scouts after you? Like, were you sort of spotted by one of these Melbourne Storm weapons?
No, I finished high school, went to university, didn't have any...
What'd you study?
Teams or anything. Commerce, yeah. Okay. I was playing rugby union.
Position, second row, back row?
Inside centre.
Were you?
Don't show Jesse Bromwich or any of my boys.
Fucking hell, you would have been a big inside centre.
I filled out. But no, I didn't really have any options. And I was trying to make it, and then went to East Tigers as a centre in league, and then they had like this experiment where they thought they'd get some bigger outside bodies and outside backs and try and turn them into front rowers. Josh Kerr's a graduate of that school as well at the Dragons.
Nut trucker of...
Yeah, big nut trucker. Big boy, big strong boy.
Fucking oath.
Yeah, so then just got picked up. I didn't really have any other option, really. The Broncos said I could come for a trial or I could go to the Storm. It was 2012 when they just beat the Dogs, so I was like, this is a pretty easy option to come down.
But so then are you saying like you weren't on anyone's radar, you've just sort of like, I don't know, I guess kept pushing? It seems like it was not an unexpected one, but maybe... Like, did you think that you had what it took to make it, or were you just sort of persistent?
Just persistent. I think it's a dream, but it's never like a reality. Like I wasn't in high school going, I've got a Storm scholarship. Or, I'm going to be a professional footballer. You obviously aspire to become one, but never.
So how did that work? So you went to do you just show up at Tigers and go, I want to play for the club?
Yeah, pretty much. It was down the road. So in East Brisbane, that's where I lived, and just went down there. And
you were signed to the Storm at 18?
Yeah.
So it happened pretty quick anyway.
So we're 17 when we finished grade 12, or we used to be. So had a year out.
So played a year for the Tigers and then went to the Storm.
Went down the Storm, yeah.
How'd you go in Q Cup that year?
No, I was playing under 18s. I was
under
playing
18.
Colts and that, yeah. So,
Must have gone all right. Fuck.
nothing too flash.
Are you with the main squad early, like straight away, or are you?
No, you're kind of like fanboying, especially a Queenslander, proud
Oh,
Queenslander.
fuck yeah.
You kind of see, because 20s train morning and night, so you kind of see Cronk, Slater, Smith, they're all rolling in, and you kind of like fanboying a bit.
Yeah.
That was the first 2 years. My first coach was Anthony Seabold, so.
Get out of here.
Yeah, big fan. He's a great fellow. He's just, I think.
Just
been a bit
maligned,
unlucky.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Can I ask a
poor
real
Seabs.
question? And like, I'm sure he's a great bloke. Was it hard to be around someone with a voice like that for that long? Like, that's one of the hardest things to listen to. Again, great.
Or has
man.
it got worse?
Yeah, or has it
He
got?
can't
worse?
really swear either. He says, feckin', let's feckin' get into him, man.
It's
It's
a-
like-
What's that?
yeah. Nah, he's good. He's a good fella.
Interesting. So he's just been, because obviously the way he's been portrayed is like, you know, I guess not necessarily his personality. Like, he hasn't been portrayed as a bad bloke, but a fucking horseshit coach. Like, he's been, you know, and he just was taken through the ringer. Do you ever, do you keep in touch with him? Was there anything
Yeah, I
like
reached out to him a couple of times. Yeah.
That's nice.
I really feel for him because
Yeah.
I don't know. I think rugby league's it's an interesting game and community. Like, you know, as soon as people start going, oh, Sieb's been to Harvard, he's been using all these big words, I think like the average Joe, the blue collar rugby
smart
league
cunt, are
fans,
ya?
like, oh, you know, it's almost. And I think that's why Bellamy's so good because Bellamy connects with all those people in press conferences and that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I think maybe that's people are a bit off him for that.
You're a smarter sort of operator.
Do you try to hide that?
Well, yeah, but I actually don't mind. Like, if I was playing AFL or even rugby union, they'd be like, "Oh, he's done a business degree. Like, who's this guy?"
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
in NRL, they're like, "Christian Welch, this guy, he's a
my
rocket
God.
scientist." Like,
they're
we're all at him. He's very intelligent guy, and I'm like, "Well, not really. I just went to uni." But
That's it.
Do I
They're
hate
like,
it?
they're like, Christian's done a degree. What, in commerce?
Wow.
Wow. But yeah, poor old Siebes. He's a victim of his circumstances, really. Like
You're right. Because
like massive club, arguably the biggest,
and
the
they
most,
sign him on a ridiculous deal.
the most high profile. Certainly, like they demand excellence. Excellence wasn't delivered, and then I think it was just a fucking avalanche of poo after that. It is what it is, though.
Yeah.
Who was the first of the big three to come up and have a yarn to you? And did you poo yourself?
oh, yeah. Well, you kind of. I don't know. They're changed a bit now, the young boys. I said about 2 words my first couple of years there.
Yeah.
Keep my head down. Cooper Cronk, great fella. It was hard because Smithy and Slats have families there, whereas Coops was single, living in Melbourne by himself. So he takes out for golf, coffee, lunches. So he was very generous, great fella. Should have a statue in Melbourne. It's
Bro, what the fuck?
absolute robbery. I can't believe, you know.
Is that just because he went to the Roosters? That's like
I think because
salt?
he went to the Roosters, beat us in the grand final,
Yeah.
and won premierships. I think
Yeah.
if he went to Catalans or something, played a couple of years there, or went to the Sydney club, didn't play finals, I think he'd have one. So.
Yeah, that seemed a little bit stiff. They're like, yep, Billy, Cameron.
I was
and then
like,
Cooper,
damn,
what?
that's tough.
He
dude.
was there like the whole time.
Yeah, no, he was the whole time. He's won like
Except
6 comps.
for the last one, obviously.
Yeah. Well, that's tough. Are you pushing for it as the smartest man
I'm
in
going to
Melbourne?
petition for it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe you
look,
can. Maybe you just go. Listen, we'll put up one of me. We'll put up one of Coops.
Yeah, yeah.
Slide
look.
in there, you reckon?
Fuck it. Why not?
I understand what I am. I'm a simple front rower. There's
Oh,
not-
I don't know about simple.
know.
No, you're a smart front rower.
yeah, yeah.
So, well, you trained the young boys and stuff. Like, so you didn't say anything. What's it like? It's just different now, hey? Like, yeah, I mean, I feel weird
Oh, they got a lot
saying
more
young
confidence,
people.
you know, like to pipe up and take you on a little bit. But I think that's...
What do you reckon that is? Do you reckon that's like social media?
Yeah,
Or is it
maybe,
not
I
being
don't know.
hit as a child?
It could be that. It could be the new gen.
You know what I mean?
Or the removal of the shoulder charge? You know what I mean? Put one on the lippy.
Yeah, exactly. You can't punch them.
that, bro.
But they're just what? They're just a lot more. They're just happy to
Oh, it's
engage.
not necessarily a bad thing. But
No, it's kind of. It can
a
be
bit more
fun, I
confident.
imagine.
Yeah, it's fun, yeah.
Do you do any of that? Is there any like hazing shit you do down at Storm? Like run at me and stuff?
no.
Or at least was there.
Well, when
if
you
it's
first
maybe-
arrive, you have to do 2 weeks on the tools, like on job sites, like working.
Oh, do you?
So you'd go in and like, it doesn't matter if you play 200 games or haven't debuted, you go into the work program for its first year. So I was paired up with Marika Corumbete.
Oh, sick.
And the Fijians don't know how to work, I'll give them that.
Yeah.
I was useless. But you go to job sites, you're picking up shit, you're removalists. You're just a bitch for a tradie for 2 weeks and you got to train at 5 a.m., go to a job site for 8 hours, come back, train at 5 p.m. So you do that for 2 weeks. And then the boys who have already done it, it's the best thing ever. You come and do weights at 8 a.m., then you go home, chill out all day, and you come back for a session at like 5 o'clock. So
That's,
It doesn't matter who the fuck you are. You got to do that.
Yeah.
Is that done at other clubs or is that?
I don't know. I think it's a Craig Bellamy thing.
Do you reckon that's part of like what leads from the outsider looking in? And when I say outsider looking in, I'm like reading articles and hearing whispers of why the Melbourne system's so good. Like I know the All Blacks, for example, always made the players clean the sheds afterwards.
Like the oldest players clean
Yeah,
the
like the
sheds
little
afterwards.
1%er, like the little 1%ers. Do you think that's...
Yeah, I think it's a big thing.
In that
Like,
world?
when you're travelling, hotel, bus drivers always say g'day. Pick the luggage up. Don't leave it for the staff when you're travelling. It's like little stuff, but I guess it all adds up. And I guess it helps being in Melbourne. Like there's a great following there and they've built a bit of a thing, but it's a bit of a non-event compared to AFL. So you don't have all the fanfare and hype. Like, you know, Cam Smith can go for a beer on Swan Street and people like recognise him, but they don't. It's not like a big thing. So, and then if you're a young fella who no one knows, it's like it's pretty hard to read the press when there's no press about you. So
There is an A. When you're in Melbourne, it's like 12 pages in and there might be a tiny little thing about Melbourne.
Well, it's the same. Yeah, I mean, it's
Christian
sort of the
Welch,
same. It's
rugby
worse
league
than here,
genius.
actually. It's
Here?
like the Telegraph. They might get some AFL.
Oh, yeah,
cover
yeah, we
pages,
still
but down
cover
there, it's
AFL.
like there's none of it.
We definitely still cover AFL. 2020 was the comp. Was that when you won it?
yeah.
How? I mean, I'm sure it was a fucking great time. You were injured in 2017, right?
Yeah, did
So would it? But like that was you won it in 2017.
Yeah.
You would have been playing, I assume. I'm just trying to. I can't remember the
Yeah,
team.
I was playing. Yeah, I played in the 2016 grand final. We lost to Cronulla.
There you
2018.
go. As you can tell, we
no,
don't do
sorry,
a lot of
2016.
research. We like to
Yeah,
just
yeah.
fucking find it all out.
2017, I was watching, did my knee, and then 2018 made the grand final. I go, here we go. Cooper Cronk's one-armed.
Yeah.
We got these blokes for sure. Got pumped. Lose that one. So I've lost 2 grannies. And then 2019, we're on top of the ladder, round 20. Here we go. This is it, boys. That's my ACL. So it's kind of, I had a lot of good success, but never actually won a premiership. So 2020 was pretty awesome.
Sweet.
Have you got a ring for 2017? Did they give you one?
No, they only do the 17 and the head coach.
Oh, because I was under the impression they might. The club can make a couple of extras.
Yeah, I think so, but our owner's pretty tight. You know, we don't have
Right.
colitis.
Right.
Just bankrolling everything.
Yeah.
Seven boys.
Well, fair enough. Well, I tell you what, the Manly boys wouldn't get them either.
No.
That we do know.
Well, we didn't get any for
we
2011.
haven't got one. Look, 2022, maybe we're a shout.
We fucking better.
On 2018, Cooper Cronk, play with one arm, basically was like an on-field coach. What was the preparation like for him and what he might do? Or do you reckon you underestimated what he did do?
We didn't underestimate him, but I think a lot of our game plan was like, right, like if he's going to play, let's fucking spot him up. Let's run at him. And it kind of took a lot of our focus in attack. We were kind of looking for him. And I know it's going to shock you, but halfbacks know how to hide in defence. They're a bunch of cowards. No one talks about it because it's halfbacks commentating on other halfbacks. So, I mean, I would love for you guys to use your profile, start calling these actions out. They're
Happy
cowards.
to.
Most of them are cowards. And
Halfbacks are cowards.
Wingers are actually coming good. Like the amount of yardage carries they have to do, they're getting a bit of respect. in my
Well,
books.
yeah, wingers are sort of having a bit of a glow up.
They are, and they're actually rolling their. You know, they're actually doing some tough work.
Yeah, out of the tough carries to start the sets. Your Brian Totters of the
Well,
world.
Brian's setting the bar very, very high.
I hate that. I hate playing.
Does
Brian.
that annoy you as a front rower seeing that the PCM king post contact meters is actually a winger?
Yeah.
Does that burn
But
you
boys, you need to understand the game of rugby league, right?
up? Does it
What
burn
is
you up?
Brian Toto? How much tackles does he make a game? So don't get me wrong. I love the work he does. It's phenomenal. But he sits on the sting, right? He might make one a set. And then he's like, right, I'm going to have 2 carries. I'm going to run over all the Tide boys in the middle. And it works. He's phenomenal. He's such a good player. He actually seems like a nice fella. But you know, we can't do that. We're making 3 or 4 tackles a set.
So you saying we need to almost come up with some equation?
I
Which
reckon
I'm sure
we roll
can
the funnies
do.
out in the sting, get the wingers to defend in the middle.
See how they go. But
we'll
if you
run for
go
200.
like tackles made to PCMs and you
Divided
find
by
some-
tackle. Yeah.
divide PCMs divided by tackles made.
Look, Tom and I, we could probably crunch something.
Well, I saw
out.
there was a nut trucking index.
Yeah, the nut trucking
Earlier in the
index.
year?
Well, we haven't nailed down the
We haven't ironed
specific
it out.
mathematics of it, but it's like you can't have the less offloads the better, the less PCMs the better.
You can't have played any representative footy
Or you can have
except
2
for
city countries.
1, maybe 2 city country games.
Rest in peace. What a context.
We want to bring that back for the pure reason that it was such a celebration of
Nut truckery.
nut truckery and not mediocrity is not the right word, but it sort of is.
Yeah.
Look, if it's like it was mediocre representative football.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was.
which is sort of what it was nice. And it was like you get it out at the regional centres, people get to watch a game of footy.
And people love watching nut truckers truck nut.
And it's also, it was like people where you go like, oh yeah, I think I recognise that guy.
Who's he played for again? Storm. Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a fucking...
He
He's
could
all
have
right.
said anyone and you would have said, yeah, that's right.
He's okay. Oh, he knocked it on. So, look, I mean, Valet, the fucking city country.
Jake Trebojevic was telling us the other day that Brian's almost impossible to tackle. Do you have that same opinion?
Yeah, you just got like 3 or 4 in there, guys, to just try and
But is there anyone else like is he kind of an outlier in that sense?
Yeah,
Like he
I
seems
reckon.
to be pretty fucking hectic, but
yeah, he's a great player. He's a good pickup. No real similar.
so you reckon he is sort of, there's no one really like him, at least getting around, or like is he the hardest
Not
to
as
tackle
good
for
as him.
you?
Yeah, not as good as him.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like your wingers' roles changing heaps. Yeah, they're doing heaps of work now. It's the centres who are getting easy jobs. And who else, boys? There's another news alert. Second rowers. They're also
We think
borderline cowards.
Okay.
Mate, they run at halfbacks for a living. No one realises this.
Yeah.
Like they're the biggest boys in the field, and they just spot up 3-ins. Like, come on, let's look at it. I'd run 15 metres a carry as well if I was out there.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
Listen,
So
I'm
you need to
happy
bring
help you
light
get-
to this,
Yeah,
all right?
okay.
Because,
All right.
well,
But then
as we've learnt, they do defend at 3 in,
Well, yes, we know that well as
which until this
sharp
year was
rugby league
fucking
minds.
over the top. And then Denon's like, well, he's defending 3 from the fucking wing. Okay,
Well, I
sure.
get that makes
Oh, yeah,
sense.
Yeah, that
okay,
makes sense.
so you think second rowers, centres, softcocks.
Yeah,
That's your quote.
That's my call.
Because
Yeah.
we'll put that out as a quote.
Well, no, second rowers aren't soft cocks, but like, don't lump them in with us boys in the middle. Like,
Right.
it's a bit disrespectful to the.
Okay.
We'll take the first part of the quote because it was funnier. On the changing of the game, obviously it's a fuckload quicker this year, or at least at the first half of the season was crazy quick. Do you reckon it got slower at the back end of the season?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I think the refs are. I feel sorry for the refs. That's a tough job.
Yeah.
It's like the boss is like, right, we want it like this, and then they get in trouble because the product's shit, and then they go, right, just go a bit easy on that. Like they're still breaking the rules, but just maybe relax it. Like that final series. But how good was that grand final? That's what rugby
That's
league
what it
is.
was about.
Yeah.
It's an arm wrestle. It's a grind.
Yep.
But the poor refs had to put the whistle away, and that's not their fault.
But it seems like when they put the whistle away, it ain't that big of an issue. Like,
Yeah,
like at least for the grand final, right? It's not like there's anything glaring. But then you have them put the whistle away, and then something happens. You have an incident, and then it's like the call.
But that's sort of, I don't know if that's sustainable over, 8 games around over 24 rounds to put the whistle away. But every time they put it away, like in Origin and in finals games, like the grand final, it's always a way better product. So I'm sort of like,
I was shitting my pants
why
going
don't you
into
just
Origin
put
this
it
year.
away?
I'm like, dude, if they are like as hard on head highs as they were,
like Magic Round.
yeah,
bad,
like Magic Round bad, you're like, Origin's gonna suck.
Yeah.
But then whistle goes away, Rugby League the winner. Well, New South Wales the winner. Sorry,
Yeah, hey,
Christian.
tickets, boys.
That's right. You owe us.
You're not wearing blue though. Like honestly,
Well, we have to wear blue though.
What about a scarf?
I want a black jacket on your blue.
So what if we wear
what are
black?
the players' families going to think? You're sitting in the.
Well, tell
the
them.
players'
You
area.
tell them. You go. Listen, I lost a bet with some New South Wales legends, and
Or I could just put you in the nosebleeds. Like,
Well, that's-
who can play this game, boys?
You said with the
There's
family.
2 tickets.
Look, we'll wear
I'll
the.
put you over there, my brother. He can go up there as well.
I'll wear a black jacket, but it'll be blue underneath and the blue scarf,
Okay.
obviously.
yeah, and maybe a Blatchies wig, just a tasteful Blatchies wig, maybe with a fade.
You-
I'll get a
you can
fade on my
actually- you
Blatchies
can actually,
wig.
they're getting more tasteful.
Are they?
Yeah, they are.
Because that's what we've been calling for.
We have been.
Terrible. What are those songs?
Ba-da-da-da.
So I
Ba-da-da-da. 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 New South Wales, wear the blues. Queensland, you're gonna lose. That's a Wiggles original.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all right.
Well,
pretty
it's our answer to Ya Ya Yippee, which is obviously a lyricless pile of shit.
It's beautiful.
It's toilet.
Yeah.
It's rugby league day, boys.
So-
Who needs lyrics?
Well, I'm prepared to back you there with lyrics being overrated in a rugby league context. I think it makes it easy to remember as well, Eddie, after a long, hard game of football, which is why I think you and because I mean, I think we can agree with you at least on this, that fucking Star anthem was one of the great disgraces. The New South Wales anthem, did you
Oh,
We all bleed blue.
We all bleed blue.
You heard that?
I can't keep up, boys.
Maybe don't get it down there.
I would have thought that would have been playing in the dressing room, that video, in Queensland, being like, go out and belt these losers because this fucking anthem sucks.
Oh, like motivation. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, it didn't work. if that was the case.
No, it did. Well, if they were playing it, who knows? But for those of you that don't know what the fuck we're talking about to some degree, we did have a bet with Christian ahead of Origin 1. Or was it for the whole series? Or was it? Must have been for the series.
No,
Just game 1.
Yeah.
That New South Wales would win. Christian thought Queensland would win. If New South Wales win, we got tickets to one of the games sitting next to Christian's family. Obviously, COVID fucked that. If you were to win Queensland, we had to put out a video calling the Battle of Brookvale just full of dog shots from Manly. Do you want
to confirm it? Yeah.
Well, no,
I
we had
watched
to.
it
We had
today
to.
as well, just to check if I had too many beers or if it's actually a reality.
Yeah, well,
Mate,
this
you
was.
watched what they do to Adam Blair. 5 of them run in there. That's poor.
Don't fucking start it if you're not going to finish it, bruh.
Yeah, well, Blairy's going with Glenn Stewart. Does Glenn Stewart need 4 other blokes in there? No.
Lefty had already flogged him before the other 4 were in there.
Yeah, and you know what? That's probably why you didn't win the comp that year as well, because you didn't. Your team that you just saw that Melbourne were not about looking out for each other. Manly, it was like bang, they're there in 2 seconds, just ganking everyone. It was a great. We were there. We were at the game.
We were actually at the game.
I think it's one of those moments. I was on the couch. I think everyone remembers that.
Yeah,
It
was
was special.
hectic. It was a great one to be.
How do you reckon you'd go if you were on the field? You reckon you get
Do
pieced
you
up?
throw 'em?
I can't throw him. So what I would do is try and get one off before he gets one off, and then just go for the grapple.
Yeah.
And then say I win on points. That's what I would do.
Well, you'd get the punch in, right? So everyone just remembers like you just getting a clean shot.
That's right. I think don't wait for them to go. That's my mantra because I've been in 0 fights in my career.
Yeah, right. Well, that's are they play with them like do you? I'm assuming you, by the sounds of it, are glad that there's no biffs anymore in the game, or is there moments where you're like, God, I'd like to smack some lippy little arsehole?
And that's the thing. Like rugby league's beautiful when you're out there. The personalities and the characters out there, like their on-field egos and on-field, like, like I remember playing like Fafita and Hargraves, and they're like these big alpha dogs.
Yeah.
And you're taking them on, and they're carrying on like this is my house, is what they're doing. As soon as 80 minutes over, they're like the nicest fellas ever. Like, and that's what my parents like. They were like, oh, Andrew Fafita, we hate him. I was like, he actually seems like a really nice fella. Like, but it's funny the amount of chat. Like we were playing in 2020, and Tino was still on our team. And Tino, he ran a bit lateral, but he still made like 20 metres, went back across the ruck. And then there was a scrum like straight after it. I said, oh, good carry, Tino. We're playing the Rabbitohs, good carry, bros. And then this Rabbitohs fella goes, no, it wasn't. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, oh, he ran sideways. And then I was like, he made 25 metres. And I was like, fuck up, mate. You've played 3 games. And he goes, no, I haven't. I've played 6. And I was like, that's what I mean. The new generation. I wouldn't utter a word until 5 or 6 years in.
That's so funny. I've played 6.
I've played 6.
That doesn't make it that much
and he just
better,
made 25 metres.
Yeah. That's funny.
So
Will Chambers all time. There won't be another one like him.
Yeah.
And the way he used to do it was he'd find like an Origin or a Kangaroos teammate at a scrum. And so we'd play in the Broncos and he'd have like Corey Parker or Thaiday there. And he'd go, and Pangai was there, right? And he'd go, Pangai, Thaiday was telling me in Origin camp, no one hates you, mate. They reckon you're a fuckwit. And so then Chambers is like getting into him. And so Pangai's like, oh, fuck off, mate. I don't believe it. But then he's like looking over at Thaiday. He's like, did you actually say that? Do you not like me? He was pretty good at that. He was the ultimate sledger.
It's what we've spoken about it before, just about how funny it is how when he was down at the Storm in like a good team, he was always chirp. Like he's always been chirp his whole career and, getting into him. And then as soon as he gets to the Sharks, for some reason it was like everyone just turned on him for doing what he's been doing his whole career.
Should have embraced it. I think he was mistreated.
Yeah. It was funny,
it's
right?
good.
Like,
It's character.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're losing, but you probably shouldn't. But
It's tough when you're getting pumped.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. I think one of those games was
Does he ever turn it off, or was he always on the go?
No, it's not.
Rain Halashane, yeah. I respect that though.
Yeah.
And I love a bit of chirp. I think you're right. People went over the top with the criticism when he was at the Sharkies.
I guess it's the media. How do you feel like with rugby league media? Because you made a point on Twitter at some. What was it? Was it about
James Hooper?
Yeah, Hoops. And who was he going after? Was it at the Storm?
Kevin Smith just announced his retirement.
Bro, that's right.
Like,
yeah, not a good bloke.
There's so many articles you can write about, and they go, Cam Smith was a good player, but not a good bloke.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on.
Dude, that was wild. Like, that was a wild take in such an unnecessary moment.
Was it Hoops that had said when you won the comp?
It was like 21 reasons to hate the Storm, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. There's so many good stories, like Pacific Islanders, guys coming from all those islands, New Zealand, great stories. Brandon Smith slept in a car when he was 18, like out front of his brother's place, Sharon, inside the house. like, it's not that hard. Just talk to them, ask them what they're...
Yeah.
There's so many good stories, but all we need to do is just ride people down. And that's why it's good, like, you guys, Den and Kemp, you know, you can be like, positive about the game. People like it. Like, it pisses me off. And there's these old journos, and they just made a career out of crisis merchants and
just bashing people.
There's not necessarily a lot of players, maybe a bit more now, and maybe off the back of people like yourself, but like it seemed like before then players maybe a little bit more reticent to call out journos or to speak up. What made you feel any different? Is there a vibe like that, or a cult like to not say anything?
I think probably you look at the platforms, like, you know, 10, 15 years ago, you don't have Twitter. You who are you going to tell? Like the journo asking you a question at the press conference. So it's like, it's easy to get on Twitter and be a bit of a hero.
Yeah.
Go after them. So.
Do you talk? Have you spoken to the Hoops or anything since that? Like, does he ever?
Nah, I don't really like. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just don't see the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you avoid journos, those sort of?
Oh, like I've been on there. I'd say I'll go on there if he's not going to be on there, because I don't know. There's no point.
Yeah.
But you know, he's not going to change. That's how it is.
Because is there anything to that where like it's journos salty at players for like not giving them stuff? Like, do journos rely on players to leak shit to them?
Managers, yeah, player
managers,
agents, yeah.
How's that work? Are you ever like? I mean, with your manager, are you a bit like, hey, bro, don't fucking leak this?
Oh no, like I don't have it's a business relationship. I'm not going to say, oh, this is what's happening. This is the goss.
Right, but some managers would have that more of a relationship with their players where they're telling them shit.
And it's a trade, so they'll exchange. Like I'll give you a scoop on this, but if you need to tell me, you know, what that player's on or whatever, you know, what you're hearing.
But how do the players feel about that?
I don't know, I guess. But then at the same time, it's like, you know, it's a trade-off. So everyone hates player managers. There's some good ones, some dodgy ones, but then no one really talks about like footy clubs and footy managers wrist-soling blokes who have done nothing wrong. Like they just got a good deal, good contract. Like Darius Boyd, like I know he probably didn't play as well as he wanted to at the end, but he was a great ambassador of the game, did community stuff, and everyone's like, let's get rid of him. It's like it's the same people who are going like, let's flog him off, but then they're happy when their club, you know, it's like a contradiction, I think. I've got a good story about Bennett in Origin camp.
Yeah. So what? This was the one where you guys in 2019, 2020, yeah. So what was the go?
So we, because we played in the grand final, so the boys went into camp like a week before us. They started training. And so
that's right. You won the comp and Munster was being a fucking wild boy.
Yeah, out there having a good time. Anyway, we get into camp, and I didn't really know Wayne Bennett. Thanks, mate. And at the first training session, someone passed me the ball, and like I've dropped it, and like I don't know Wayne Bennett. Anyway, I heard this noise in the background. He goes, "Welch, you would have caught it if it was a cheeseburger, you fat fuck." And I was like, what? Who's that? It was Bennett. I was like, oh, shit.
Oh, my God.
Mate, he was so good. That's just who he is. And
really,
it's a shame people don't get to see the real Wayne Bennett because he's such a legend. And, like, we'd have to get COVID tests every, like, second or third day because we're there for, like, 3 or 4 weeks for 3 games in a row. Yeah. And, like, I remember him yelling out to Capewell. He goes, oh, Capes, did you fail your COVID test so we can fuck you off already? And it's like, he's just so much banter and value.
Really?
Yeah, no, legend.
That's interesting. And you say like it is disappointing you don't get to see that side of him. Is it because he's a seasoned veteran? I guess the media can be assholes, but it's like he certainly doesn't put forward that. You can see a cheeky grin in him every once in a while. You go like, there's clearly something about him. Or you see those videos where he's dancing in the sheds with all the boys after a win. Yeah. That's crazy. That's
what he's all about. He's all about the lads and the team, and he just doesn't care about the media. He's just like, you're there. I have to do this. I have to be here. I'll answer your questions. Am I going to give you anything? No.
Yeah.
Or also, I might even fucking play you against other coaches, like with Ivan Cleary and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. He played him off a break.
Played him like a fucking fiddle. But I've always heard that he's such a weapon, like man manager, in the way that he deals with people and it gets the best out of them. Does he get the best out of them by being that cheeky, sort of like jokey, lighthearted guy, or is that sort of how he puts you at ease, and then he'll sort of come up and get in your ear and motivate everyone individually?
A bit of time he just makes sure everyone's together, rowing in the same direction, and have a bit of a laugh. Like Alfie Langer, like he's the best bloke ever. Like to have in those camps because he just gets morale going.
Yeah,
and he knows, like when we Origin 2, we got pumped by like 40. I think you guys would text me because I was in the grandstand as well.
Probably were.
We lost by like 40 or 46-0 or whatever. And it wasn't that bad. It was something bad.
Oh, that's right. Oh, we were behind. Remember, we were fucking hammered and we were screaming at him. He was on the
He
bench.
couldn't hear us. Well done. We were fucking blind drunk.
Yeah. And so we get in the sheds. Everyone's going, oh, how bad? Like, we won Adelaide, so it was 1-1, but everyone's like, far out. We're fucked. How bad was that? We got slaughtered.
Yeah.
And then, like, everyone gets in the circle and Wayne gets big Joshy Kerr and goes to him, mate, get in there and get the boys going. So old Curry gets in there. He goes, righto, boys, we're going around the circle. When did you lose your virginity? What's the story? We need a rooting story, all right? And so everyone's like, what's this about? And then we went around the circle. Everyone's kind of like, you know, it's kind of lifted everyone. And so he's kind of the master of doing that. But he's also, like, he had some, like, game plans, like setting 4 defenders on the short side, irrespective of how many attackers they have. Mm. And a few of the boys are like, oh, we don't really like doing that because, like, Keary and those boys, they'll sit and they'll flip over and go the open. And so he's like, oh,
no, mate, it's right. I've been burping my ass off as well.
And then so he's just like, righto, whatever you want to do, just as long as we've got a plan, you know, we're all right. So he's not like, no, this is my way or the highway. Yeah, and then also he has good assistants. Like we had Meninga, Neil Henry. So I think he's a great man manager, but he needs to have like hands-on assistants who do a lot of the coaching as well.
Yeah, right. And just he's not married to his ideas. He's happy to.
Yeah, flexible. You know,
is that sort of
easy.
shit driven by mainly playmakers, or like could you be making as obviously a nut trucker of elite? Yeah. You're an elite nut trucker, but like are you? I guess are players outside of playmaking positions allowed to sort of give input on game plans and shit like that?
Yeah, but at the same time, I was thinking it, and I was like, I'm not going to say that. Right. I'm going to go to Jake Friend. I'm going to go to Daly Chervins. They can have that conversation because I'm a rookie and I'm a forward.
But will you say that to those boys? Like, did you voice?
Yeah, I was like, we can't do this. We'll get torn up here. And then they went and had the conversation.
How the fuck's Wayne then of like Wayne Bennett fame coming up with a game plan that's so bizarre?
It wasn't that bad. It was just like one little thing.
One thing, right? Yeah. Sorry, but like it seemed it's kind of interesting though, right? And then the players going, "Bruh, what the fuck?" With the greatest respect to you, Wayne.
But I suppose it's like you can't get it all right?
I guess so.
But I'd always heard that he's just an incredible man motivator, which I think, and you'll be able to fill us in, is that what Origin's all about? Just motivating the boys?
Yeah, it's a completely different beast. It's like I come in, Kevy Walters was there as well. Mate, he's almost crying like every meeting.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dude. Did you see those videos? Kevy's in like presses talking about like just the fucking game coming up. And he's
I understand. You blokes don't get it. You don't get it down here in Sydney.
Well, I mean,
we can debate that. But
yeah.
It's seriously, it's a different game. Like it's not even, you do a little bit of coaching, but as long as we know a couple of moves, as long as we're all buying in, it's such an emotional game.
Yeah.
Thurston, Nate Miles, these guys are almost in tears when they're presenting jerseys and stuff. It means so much, and it's amazing because in Melbourne it's so like dry and analytical, and this is your job. Go do your job. It's different. So I don't think
robotic and emotionless.
Yeah, and it works because if you try to do the emotional thing, 26 rounds into finals is probably not going to work.
You
need to tap into that.
You need to have a fucking
holiday.
Seriously. Yeah. How often do you talk in those Origin camps around how New South Wales didn't let Queenslanders play for Queensland, and if you played in Sydney, you had to play for New South Wales? Like, is that talked about that you didn't have an identity for a long time?
Yeah.
Or is it just known?
Yeah, and it's all the team rooms. It's all up there. The history of what you did to our great state.
Does that? You talk about the emotional, that sort of shit. When you first get in there, are you? I assume. You played union. Were you always a league fan growing up? Like, was that your main thing?
Yeah, Cowboys. Right. Yeah, everything. Yep.
So when you get in there, do you feel that emotion, or is it like once you're seeing it, so you're sort of like you're getting pumped with it, as opposed to like walking in there and is it a bit of a weird feeling when you first get in there? You're like, holy fuck, this is crazy.
Like, you go from fan to actually being in a Maroons jersey. Like, I was 18, finished school, and I went to that game where Cooper Cron kicked the 45.
Oh my God.
I was 17.
That was
beers with
so
my mates.
fucked.
I was behind the post and I was just losing it. Like one of the best things ever.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years later, like you're in there putting a jersey on, playing. It's 2020 after that game 3 when we won, and the crowd, like it was just so surreal.
How are your parents when you tell them?
Yeah, well, I actually got called when I was with my dad. We were driving to the airport.
Is he a proud Queenslander?
Yeah. They both are.
But are they now like Queenslanders? Because I mean, they're obviously proud New South Welsh men and women before.
They're Cairns and Collinsville. You wouldn't know that is. That's right up.
I know Cairns, don't know Collinsville.
Yeah.
So how was that experience like telling your old man? That's one of those things I think as a son of a father, like your father's son or whatever the fuck it is, like that'd be quite a fucking awesome experience, I imagine. Yeah. Me and Eddie haven't been able to give our dads anything even close to that in terms of a like.
Well, caught him the other day, mate. Just interviewed Ricky Potty.
That's, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was our origin.
That was our origin.
Yeah.
And we might have cried. We might have shared tears.
Yeah.
Which was nice. Did you have something?
Did you get nervous?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the fucking tech was like that. He couldn't hear us on the sound.
I was nervous
drama.
all day. I went to bed nervous the night before. It's
I didn't get
nervous, but like I never really think about shit like that, and I was thinking about it.
I was fine until his sound wasn't working, and then I could see on his, because we had to do it via Zoom, and you could see he was kind of getting not pissed off at us, but it was like, he's fucking almost 50, he doesn't understand technology. And
and he's also like, I've scored 41 tests for the nation, shouldn't have to come on here.
I shouldn't have to deal with these dead
shits. Sound at work. But back to you.
Yeah, enough about us.
Tears with the old man.
Nah, not tears, but because I got the call from Kevy, so he was on Bluetooth in the car. So that was pretty
hectic.
you were there with him?
He was sitting next to me. I was driving him to the airport. So that was cool. Yeah.
That's nice.
Sick.
Yeah. And it was good. That game 3, I think I had 40 tickets. So
really?
They were all there. Yeah, I didn't get a match fee, but you asked Felice Kafusi, mate. He's one of 8. Big Tongan Catholic family.
So you can forego match fees. You can forego match fees for tickets.
Yeah, they just deduct it. So I think you get 4
for free
tickets,
non-deducted.
Yeah.
So 2 of those
And then you
go
got
to
to pay
us.
for them.
Yeah, you got to pay for them. Yeah,
It's a Kafusi's
and it's Origin, so it's you're paying full freight. It's not like righto, here's a platinum ticket for $100. They're like $400.
Fuck.
So be grateful next year.
We will be.
No, we
It's an
will be.
expensive bet.
No. Look,
Expensive bet.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a bit.
bet is.
Well, I mean, just
Bet's
cut
a
it,
bet, boys.
cut
Hey,
out
just
to
pay
your
up.
family members, mate. Save some money. They've seen enough fucking
Mum and
Origin.
Dad, they don't need to come to that.
No, surely not.
In when it comes to Origin in Queensland, obviously we know how passionate you all are. How does it? What's the ranking up there? Is it Artie first, then the King? Is it the King then Artie? How do Queenslanders rank their fucking grades?
Well, what would you have?
I'd have
Well,
JT.
I'm not a Queenslander. I never saw Arthur Beetson play. So
I take that back. I'd have Lockyer number 1. Lockier's one of my favourite players all
as
time.
an Origin player, yeah.
Or Gordy. I don't know. Again, it's my era, our time. So Artie, I know he's the first captain. All that
We
sort of
didn't
shit.
see Wally either, so you can't have him in there.
How about us talking about our Queensland favourites when we got a fucking Queensland player?
Well, but he asked us.
No, I know, but it's just...
and then he's going to
wanted to
sell
get
us.
This is the height of Hello Sport indulgence where we just start
We like to indulge each other. I'm going to say Lockyer, I think.
Yeah, I like Lockyer. Or Gordy for fucking, throwing Hodges into another state.
You love those guys who aren't. They're not the best players, but your physical intimidators, your Carl Webb, Michael Crockers.
Yeah, dude, Crocker
they're
was
never
a
the best
gun.
player on the field, but that's Origin for me.
Yeah.
Those guys are aggro ads.
Another
man.
Dallas Johnson Storm
Yeah,
player. He was
yeah.
would those ones that just throw their body in front of anyone and have a crack. Dallas would get fucked
But
up.
so what's your list? Who's your top 3?
Oh, I'm Thurston. I'm a big Thurston boy.
Fair enough.
Did you ever? You never played? Never played with Thurston?
Nah. Wish I did.
Alfie's good.
Alfie.
Yeah.
Mate. Best value. If you're ever going to get a night out with someone, he's your first pick.
Really?
Sure.
Is it true that Alfie will always pretend it's his birthday or some shit like that?
Well, I know he always pretends it's someone else's birthday.
That's okay,
because then
right.
he'll get 4 shots to some poor QRL media guy who's got to get up at 6 a.m. So they always stitch them up, and then no phones when we go to team dinners.
Yep.
And they'll always plan a phone on a bloke, and the staff they do they have a good time. When we first get into camp, you have a drink, but then they generally put it away.
Or you have to put it away, but the staff can keep ripping and tearing, or is it all?
Staff can have drinks. Yeah.
Are you pumped for Slater to coach this year?
Has he been named yet officially, or is that?
I thought he
he's
had
in,
been.
he's in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. That's
Is
interesting.
Is he Thurston his offsider?
Yeah, I think he's in there. I don't know if he's got Josh Hannay from Cronulla.
One of the greatest fucking interim coach of all time, Josh
all
Hannah.
time.
He's got some reps in.
Fucking oath he does, mate.
He's fucking CV's legit.
He's the number
For
one
someone
interim
who's
coach.
king of the interim coaching job.
Phenomenal interim coach.
Unbelievable.
Did it feel different this year to last year, aside from the fact that New South Wales pumped you? Was it like you went from Wayne to Paul Green?
Yeah, Green.
Paul,
yeah.
sorry. What was different? Because it was basically the same side, wasn't it?
Greeny was good. I like Greeny.
Yeah, no, like not even like I'm not even meaning for like to hang shit on Greeny, but just like, why'd you get pumped by so much?
Well, have you seen your back line? It's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, you didn't have that back line last year.
What does it feel like just knowing you can't win?
yeah.
Well, game 3. You're only good as your last game,
Yeah,
boys.
but it didn't really.
Let's go.
It's queuing the rack stuff. We're like, fuck it,
Fuck
whatever.
it. Like, what, we can't lose Queensland interest.
No.
You know what I mean? If we win 70, 80,
on the up,
90
boys. We're on
games
the
in a
up.
row.
Yeah, the
It's not
points
good for the
differential
product.
was ridiculous.
I know, it was absurd.
What about then?
Yeah,
what,
what's the new rules? It's like the swim. It's like the swimsuits at the Olympics, like 10 years ago.
Oh,
All those
okay.
world records still stand, and then they got rid of them, and it's come back to normality.
well, look, you're
All right?
speaking, you're preaching the converted here. We're furious about that.
Mate, Rome, 2009, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Rome.
Fucking, it was in Rome. It was at the World Championships. That was the height of the swimsuit, like
Supersuit
saga.
era.
Supersuit era. I mean, Ian Thorpe would still have a 400-meter world record if it wasn't for that supersuit bullshit.
That
Well,
is
you just let it go. Like I've thought Tour de France. Like, let's juice them up. Let's see how fast we can do this.
100%, dude.
Like, it's the human body. Like, I know someone might die or something like that, but it's
But isn't it all
it's the
pretty
price you
safe?
pay.
Like, I mean, I
There's
think
good
it was,
doctors there. They won't push the limits.
if we do it safely, get them juiced to the tits and just see what they can do.
Well,
let's do it.
let me say this, gentlemen. They doped to the eyeballs for the entirety of the 90s into the early 2000s. There's 15, 20 years where it was good. Everyone was good to go.
no one was dying.
That's what I'm trying to say. I'm pretty sure in the era that Lance Armstrong won, only one podium getter out of 7 tours hasn't tested positive.
Yeah, right. So they're all
So
wiped.
basically the entire field every year has been done.
So he was at least the best of the juice.
He was the
that's
best.
right, yeah.
Well, the thing is, if no one juiced, he would have been the best.
You would assume. Well, I guess if they're all doing the exact same juice, we'd have to know what juice they're
yeah,
having.
but he had that special doctor, that Ferrari guy.
He did.
So
He did.
maybe he deserves a bit of respect.
How
Give
would
him-
that be in the team bus? It's like surrounded by journos, and the boys are just in there with the blood in the arm.
And the journos were seeing it.
No. They're like outside, like darkened windows and shit, but just
Oh,
literally between fucking
right.
that much bloody.
Yeah. And they'd just like jammed into like a Coke can and crush it or something, right?
Yeah, and then
Just chuck it in the bin.
nip in, delivery, bang.
Look, I've got no issues with the juice Tour de France, that's for sure. What's it like coming up against the eighth wonder of the natural world, Tom Trbojevic, just in full flight?
yeah,
like,
Tom
are you
Trbojevic,
just going like, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, and the problem is he's not a dickhead, and they're all actually nice fellas. That's
Yeah.
what hurts as well. Like, if you carry on a bit, then I might like give you a little elbow on your head just to like try and it won't do
Unsettle
anything.
ya.
But they're all nice. Like Jake Trbojevic is, I think he's my age, and we played 20s against each other. They're great guys. That's what annoys me. Even that Manly team, they're actually pretty nice fellas.
That's what's been a nice thing for us this year as Manly fans, is that like everyone loves to hate Manly, but it's just filled with legends.
yeah, but it's weird. Like no one hates them anymore. You see the NRL draw, they've got all the people love them.
I
Yeah, no,
think
he's
that's
good.
look. We probably have something to do with that, just in terms of raising the profile.
Look, we're just using the word of the punter and the dribbler. They've told us countless times, I can't hate Manly anymore because of you two. Like Tommy obviously plays a role,
Tommy has something to do with
but
it.
it's a reduced role. It's
But I
a
know the
minor role.
dribblers, when Manly lose, it's happy days.
Oh, dude.
Well,
yeah.
you hear the fucking, you hear the
dribbler hotline.
Poor Dave's got to listen to all of them. There's about 700 calls that come in. It's unbelievable. But how do you deal for a player like Tommy, right? Like, because you shut him down pretty well in the first semi-final, was it?
Yeah.
In this year?
Very
like,
well.
I mean, without giving away too many trade secrets, how do you approach him?
So we have a Storm team, like NRL 13, and you have Renegades. They're our Reggies, like your top 30, 36 players.
Yep.
And so we run against each other all week, right? And so the NRL team will look at Manly, what shapes they're running, how they play attack and defence. The Renegades, they'll go off with other coaches and they'll try and mimic what Manly are doing, right? So we'll have a guy, one of our third string fullbacks or whatever, and he's Tom Trbojevic for the week, right? And he's doing everything he does, right? And so they set up drills, and so you get a full week of, right, this is what we're going to get. Obviously, he's not as good as Tom Trbojevic because he'd be in the NRL team then. But you get the point. And
Yeah,
then you
yeah.
watch that many clips, mate. It's like, I'm brain dead, like, and it's like Belzer, his work ethic. We'll be watching, I reckon we will watch maybe an hour, 2 hours just of Trebojevic's clips like that whole week.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's
Fuck.
That's crazy. So how much?
It's a lot.
How much
That's a
time? So
lot.
is that the entirety of the clips you watch that week, or is that
man,
just?
there's other good players in that team.
No, I know, but do you know what I mean? I'm like, how much time is spent on video?
Yeah, heaps of video. You get got apps on our phone. They send out clips. So you'll have a preview, your forwards, backs. You have a team preview, and then the night before you'll have another meeting of a game.
Yeah.
And so the coaches, they do so much clipping. Like, it's the worst job for them because they sit there like, we've had a good win. We're all having beers. They're on their laptop, like
Going straight into it.
doing stats, cutting clips of games.
Even Craig, or has Craig got other people doing that?
No, Craig's doing it. Yeah.
Really?
Has that got more intense as your career's gone on? So from when you first came into the NRL,
As in, has Craig?
Well, just
has video analysis and sort of stats and fucking you get tracked within an inch of your life. Like, has that all got? How much more
it's
intense
pretty
is
big.
it?
Yeah, so they've got so much resources that they can do it. It's pretty big.
You still doing the beep test down there?
Nah, the yo-yo. It's like
That's like up to
Up
10
back,
back, 20 back. We're beep test operators here.
yeah.
We're old school.
PBs. What do you got for us?
I'm glad you said PBs because mine's a 12.5. But would you like? You can give your PB. Then we can
I got to 15-1 when I was at school.
Shit.
Yeah, but I was a rower, fit as a fiddle.
I wasn't.
We did one
I don't
recently.
know how people row. Like, do you hate yourself? Do you just
Yeah.
enjoy inflicting pain? Like, what do you enjoy? in
I
rowing?
don't know
Great
what it
call.
was. You know what it was?
Great call.
My old man said to me, "You'd be a good rower." And then I think part of me was like, I want to
Daddy
make the old
problems.
boy proud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe finally I can make him happy.
Yeah.
Say I love you. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and he'll
yeah.
tell me he loved me and he might give me a hug. So I stuck with it. I was good at it. And that's what was it
Yeah,
like.
he was first 8. At
I was
school.
in
He
a
was
conflict.
the-
I was in constant
Lovely.
conflict with like, I fucking hate doing this and I got to get up early and I like my sleep and it's like, it's not fun in the sense that like, it's fucking laborious work and the testing's so intense. Like a 2K erg is like the worst thing you can do. I'm like crying at the end of it, vomiting and shit. But then I'm sort of caught in this no man's land. Like I love pushing myself, but also,
Hate it.
And there's a
Hate
bit of
and I'm good at it.
bit of
you know.
prestige, isn't there? Like the Heather River. I'm sure you.
Yeah,
would have done a line out of
that's
it.
it.
you know,
He was
for
the
another
stroke. He was the motherfucker, which is
shit.
shocking considering his
No one
frame.
believes me now. Everyone
No.
goes, fuck off, mate. You're talking shit. Anyway.
I am about to fucking piss my pants. Today we saw in the news, today being 24th of November or something, I don't know, do your own research.
25th, 26th, 20 what? Yeah.
Former teammate Nico Hynes has come out as not gay, which is is different in, maybe that's a sign of the times. But it was a kind, I guess, a more of a humorous rugby league off-season story where Nico's put up a photo of just him and one of his mates. I will say to Nico, his hand was basically on the guy's cock, so I can understand where maybe the confusion was. But
Well, his hand was hidden and assumptions are then made.
Yes.
And look, was he reaching in for a grab of the junk? Maybe.
which still happens between
I do it all the time.
it still happens between friends.
I do it all
So
the time.
that could have just been a lull, like a great gag. Have you spoken to Nico? Like, because obviously he came out and he's like, "Oh, just so everyone knows, I'm not gay. He's just a mate."
Yeah, it's the rugby league news we didn't know we needed. I'm very supportive of Nico coming out not as gay.
Yeah.
I had breakfast with him yesterday, and then I got a call from my mate Billy Walters, who's at the Bronx now.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Have you caught up with Nico any times?" I was like, "Yeah, I had breakfast with him." He goes, "Is he gay?" Because everyone at the club is saying he's gay, and I was like, "Oh, geez, I don't know." Good luck to him if he is.
Absolutely. He hasn't said anything.
Yeah, so the word was getting around, right? And I think, Nico's single,
Hot
Heath
as fuck.
Ledger look-alike. So, I mean, there's plenty of potential there for the females. I think he was in a bit of damage control, brand protection. That's what I think he's come out for.
Well, particularly when you're coming up to new pastures, you know what I mean? Down to the Shire, the world's at your feet.
Oh.
Plenty of honeys down that way. Plenty that, would take a liking, I think, to a young Heath Ledger.
Yeah. And if you've got the for sale sign down, or at least in the eyes of
Well, he wants to go there with the for sale sign up.
Yes, open for business.
Open for business. Now, I can see why he's gone into damage control, but you were saying before that supposedly in the comments, which I haven't read, is like, or the gay community was rallying around him, which is nice to see.
Yeah.
Because God knows, having Nico in your camp would have been one of the great wins.
Absolutely, it would have been. And I guess now, commiserations to the gay community for losing one of the NRL's rising hot boys. But fuck me,
It would have been a good get.
It would have been.
it would have been a huge get. A huge get.
Wanted to ask you this on Nico Hynes. We're of the opinion that his hair's always wet. Have you ever seen it dry? Or does he wet it before games, or is it always wet?
I don't know how he does it. It's a phenomenal look. Hard to do in rugby league.
It's constantly wet. The man's hair is constantly, or at least it's constantly damp. Like, it just seems like it's constantly like he's running it through. I'm like, bruh, look, I mean, wet or dry, it's looking good. But we were hoping maybe you could shed some light on the dampness, whether he's got a routine that you're aware of.
He does. Well, he didn't want me to say it, but very big on the hair care, skin care.
Okay.
And maybe this is where the rumours came from, potentially.
Well, exactly. Yeah, you know, he's a sensitive new age guy.
He's a pretty boy.
He's a pretty boy.
And there's nothing against it. Good
Fuck
on him.
no, nothing against it.
He looks great, boys. He looks fantastic.
He looks fantastic.
All the best to him in his new career and new surroundings in Cronulla. As we say, he's kind of come from Q Cup and now he's a big dog. So wish him all the well.
Manly let him go as well. Something that we don't forgive.
Treated him terribly.
Well, Trent treated him terribly. Trent, not a Manly guy.
It was the whole club.
No, it was Trent.
He got injured and you knifed him.
I think, was he spotted on the peninsula? I feel like there was rumours.
There was rumours he was chatting with Des, and then the next day he signed with the Sharks, so it was kind of fucked. But
I'd sort of started making up the posters already.
Yeah.
Welcome, Nico.
Yeah, we blame Des. Now, I mean, sorry, Trent, not Des. I take that back. You're in the rugby league, like RLPA. What is that? Well, I know what it is, but like, how do you get into that? Are you putting your hand up?
Fighting the good fight, you know?
Yeah.
For the working class.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
The workers out there.
Fight the power.
Yeah.
But how do you get into there?
You kind of just work your way through. I suppose each club has a bunch of guys that turn into like RLPA like delegates.
But do you put your name forward for that? Like you're like,
they kind of just identify you and they go, we think you'd be good for RLPA, and then you just work your way up. There's kind of different groups. Yeah, so I'm on the board now with the big DCE, El Presidente. Much respect.
DCE Presidente.
Is it just the two of you?
Nah, Wade Graham, C.S. Oliola, Dale Copley, and then there's a bunch in a player advisory group.
And so what?
That's got to be the most intelligent collection of rugby league players.
There's a couple of thinkers there, which I like.
The Brains Trust.
Yeah. You're in good. Well, rugby league players are in good hands. What do you do exactly?
Well, it's pretty highly classified, mate, because I know Vlandis tunes in. I know he's been a friend of the show.
Well, he's a friend of the show.
We're coming into a CBA, so...
You don't want to give away too much.
To be fair, I don't know where your allegiance is, boys.
What are you doing there, Matty?
So...
What are you eating? Oh, Jesus Christ. They're making some noise. No, that's all right.
So basically, I'm not telling you anything to your dogs.
What the fuck? Mate, we're on team player. Just because we got the ear of the owner. I mean, not the owner,
straight to
but the big dog.
Vlandis, Savo. Nah, we just kind of... Clint Newton, former player. He's our CEO. Yeah, CEO.
Right.
We just talk about the issues, the women's game, CBA, COVID, all kinds of stuff.
It's quite an interesting spot to be in, though, I guess, especially during COVID. Like, how much of it do you, like, if we're talking about an issue of COVID, player salaries changing, something like that, do you have to go back to your boys and go like, well, this is what we're doing, what do you think? And then like you go back as their rep and sort of make a decision? There's not a representative from every club, is there? Or there is a representative?
Every club's got some reps. Yeah, so when there's a big thing, we all join in on a Zoom, like every player will get together, but then a lot of the time it'll be the senior, the RLPA guys, each club, they'll go to the guys, this is what it is, we think this is a good idea, do you support us on that? Boom, and then it goes up the chain.
Was it hard with COVID and like having to, because you all took a haircut during that period, didn't you?
Everyone was pretty good about it.
Yeah.
I think the big thing with COVID was like come back on May 28, like St. Peter, getting it done. You know, like in world sport with the first cab off the rank.
Yeah.
And the AFL were staring at us as we're doing it. And
they wouldn't have got going all year.
Nah.
They would have done nothing, mate.
They're
a bunch of losers down there. They didn't know what they were doing.
They had no idea. I honestly think they'd written off the whole season.
Yeah.
Petey comes back May 28.
Scaredy cat Gill.
Scaredy cat Gill. Oh shit!
It.
What I'm going to do now? I'm a scaredy cat. How do I react?
Yeah, my penis has literally left my body and it's crawling up the highway to go and find Pete.
Did we ever get an update on where the penis was? It must have arrived.
by I think maybe it was June, July, the penis had met Peter and attached to his.
And for those that don't know what we're talking about,
you'd have to go back and listen. It's
when a beta's alphaed by an alpha, the beta's penis falls off and wriggles to that alpha.
Connects to their penis.
Making it larger.
Yeah, sorry, we are Christian Welch, RLPA representative here. As we talk about wriggling dicks. So how difficult was it for you guys to come to an agreement with the NRL around like player salaries and all like the specifics around that sort of shit? Is that kind of like I guess you're choosing to be there in some capacity, but like it's kind of like it's quite a laborious added extra to your job, I'd imagine.
Yeah, well, because everyone had gone home, so the competition got shut down, and then we kind of worked pretty well to get there. You know, it's interesting how it's played a lot of the time. A lot of stuff's in the media, and you kind of realise, righto, these journos, they're getting stuff from the NRL. Like, you just know, like, leaked emails and stuff like that. You know, I understand that.
Do you, though? Isn't that a bit fucking like, oh, aren't we meant to be here in good faith? And then
sometimes it's in good faith. Like, you know, it's a reasonable relationship, but it can be better. But sometimes it happens like that. But, I think the players just want to get back there and start playing. And, I think we took a pay cut, I think. I don't know what it ended up being, but I think it worked out for everyone. I think NRL could get everything going again, get a season, and and it's like COVID's been the worst year for everyone. Like, but like I look at 2020, I was like the best year of my life. Like, won Premiership, won Origin, like happy days. You know, whereas everyone else is like, oh, how shit's this, which is fair enough.
Yeah, I get that. What was it like with the whole head knock concussion sort of scenario that played out this year? Because I know there was a bit of pushback between the RLPA and the NRL. You felt like you weren't consulted enough. Was that the sort of...
And you had a couple of concussions yourself this year, eh? Or you've sort of had a few.
Yeah, no, I've had a couple,
So it's been kind of close
really
to home,
bad.
the whole thing, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the head highs and that?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, like, I think the blatant ones where there's like straight contact in the head, yeah. But the ones where they're getting tackled and like losing their body height and it's an accidental, I just think we need it's a fast game and you want to make us more fatigued, you want to make the game quicker and but then you don't realise players tackling is going to get sloppier. Like it's, I don't know. I think they had good intentions with these new rule changes, and it'll mellow out. But all these unintended consequences, like all these head highs and shit, that defenders they're getting back, and then the attacker's right there. They're just trying to get into a tackle, and it's going wrong.
Yeah. Well, exactly, because you can't have it both ways. You can't go, mate,
Quick in the game
let's
up.
speeding the game up to crazy levels and make sure all the tackles are above board, because they're going to go wrong, right? There's going to be accidents every single game. And when blokes were getting sent off for accidents that were so clearly accidents, at least as a fan, I was going, what the fuck is going on? Like, there was teams losing 2-3 blokes in a game.
It was, well, and then you're like, you're completely fucked at that point. How do you feel about concussions with it? Because I know you didn't have a shitload. You had a couple this year, didn't you?
2, yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's handled pretty well. I think everyone's, like...
Did we
They know if they got a knock, they go straight off. Like, it's gone past the days where people are like, get up, mate, you're weak, like, play through it. No one says that
What, the
anymore.
smelling salts and stuff?
Yeah, no one does that. So it's getting there. But it's contact sport, so,
So you're pretty comfortable with sort of the
how they
reality
handle it.
of
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think they could be doing anything more or no?
No, and the worst thing I want them to do is go to, like, rugby union. Like, have you seen the stupid shit they're doing? Like, they're like butchering games. I used to love rugby union. Like, I can't watch it now. Referees, and I don't know if it's them or their bosses, it's like, hold up, let's stop the play. We might have missed something.
Yeah, 4 minutes
Let's go
ago.
back 5 minutes, and let's see if we can find something. We can send someone off. It's like, fuck me. Like, I don't know. I used to love rugby union, but I'm struggling.
No,
it's
you're again preaching here. Like, rugby union's just in a fucking bad way with that sort of stuff. The over policing of, and like their head high shit. Like there's ones where I remember there was one recently, or maybe it was in the World Cup, but relatively recently, where like Samu Karevi got yellow carded or red carded into the contact, and you're like, how the fuck's that make sense? How does that happen?
Mate,
you just don't see that.
he trucked the nut too hard. Like, mate, that's not.
And the guy the guy had shit tackle technique, and they're like, sorry, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
what's that
Jesus
about?
Christ.
What have we got any rule changes for 2022?
No.
I know they've changed it so that if you give away a 6 again, what is it, Matty? Is it is it inside the opposition 20? If you give away a 6 again, it's a penalty, not just a 6 again. Oh, they haven't confirmed it yet.
There we go.
Yeah, they haven't confirmed it yet.
As a team, are you coached to be like,
Give away penalty.
give away a
6
couple
again
early
on the
ones?
first couples.
Who cares?
Oh, yeah, you just take a bit longer.
Yeah.
You watch Penrith in that grand final. It's perfect.
That's just what they were.
Yeah, and they're so good. They're so well coached. Like, Cleary's a gun. Like, he's a good coach.
He's a good coach.
Yeah.
How do you reckon you go under Cleary's?
And I'm not just saying, like, everyone does it, not just Penrith.
No, of course not.
Just a disclaimer.
Of course. How do you reckon you go on to clear his high balls? Like if you had to go to fullback for a couple of moments.
No.
Do you see them go up and you're like, fuck?
Those
Yeah,
flows.
good luck. That's
Yeah.
where I go, you know what? Right, you can take the extra money. I don't want it. I don't want the mill a year.
Take those
You can deal with that
floaters.
shit.
Fuck that.
Because they look like they just. You see the fullbacks like sort of like.
Well,
at the
because
last
they
moment.
like they don't move. They're like, well, like as in they
like a
they don't
knuckleball.
spin exactly, and they just sort of float down and wig you out. Tommy gets them, but everyone else is pretty.
Well, Tommy's too good.
No, Tommy
You know
eats
what
them
I mean?
up. Well, Tommy's hog is usually up
He's
there
like,
before the ball.
bang.
fucking
Thanks for
catches it.
coming.
What do you want to do after your career? You're still young, obviously, but like, do you have any sort of thoughts about that sort of shit?
I've always told Karen Munster, because I've known him, we're 18 when we come to the club. I always told him I want to be a CEO of a sporting club. He's 36, 37. He's washed. He's got plenty of debt. He's looking for that one last contract. I drag him into the boardroom. Cam, you're done. You're not getting another deal. It's over. See you, champ. Champion, and that's the dream.
End his career.
That's the dream.
That's the dream. To champ Cameron Munster.
And then end his career.
You washed up, mate. You're done.
Dude, that's a dream. That's a fucking
But
That's
dream.
a
he's
great-
going to blow out as well. He'll be a big boy.
he's
He'll probably be a ball playing lock by then. You know, kind of those boys.
Oh,
There you go.
my
No, that's
God.
good. Do you actually have a like in that sort of realm though?
Yeah,
you
no,
got
I want to be
interested?
like maybe CEO one day of like a sporting club. Or
Really?
in the commercial side.
Yeah,
we'll
that's
see how we
cool.
go.
As
So-
opposed to coaching, more that administration.
Why
stuff.
would you be a coach?
Yeah, I know.
Too
Like-
stressful.
Who's got job security? Robinson, Bellamy, Hasler,
Bennett,
Bennett.
Cleary,
Like 16 clubs, Cleary.
5
But
and
like,
16.
And then it's this. Oh no, Paracoach. He's pretty good as well.
Brad
Brad
Arthur.
Brad
Well,
I don't think Brad's got job security.
Oh, you reckon he's gone next year if they don't?
If they lose Reed Marnie, which it seems like they have,
It's confirmed.
well,
today.
they was that's what I mean though, right? Like, was it confirmed or was reported? But
No,
you
it's done,
assume
4
it's
year.
confirmed. There you go, 4 years.
Doggies.
They're losing Reed Marnie.
The Dogs have any salary cap, or do they just?
They just, I mean, look,
They're
Phil
just
Gould.
wheeling and dealing.
Yeah, every
That's
fucking
pretty
back
unreal.
on the market, and then Villiamy and Reed.
well, I think it's sort of like, look, you got the spoon last year.
Fuck
you
it.
know what I mean? Try and pull yourself up off the canvas. We'll turn a blind eye.
Do you
for a second.
find it that fucking egregious that Kickow was putting on the polo of another club?
Yeah, it doesn't look good, but
No.
at the same time, as a player, right? Like AFL players, they have to wait until the end of the year and get a deal done if they're leaving, get traded and all that. And it's like, I do my ACL, I don't get a deal. So it's like, obviously, it's not a good look. Should it be getting photos? Probably not. But do I begrudge players who have the ability to go, right, I'm going to set my family up before the season starts and I can secure that contract? Like,
Yeah.
good on them. Like,
Yeah.
I reckon, and that'll come up in the CBA. Like, NRL, I think, would be pretty keen to change that. But as like an RLPA rep, it's like, this is a good like employment thing that we've got. Like, we're not going to give that up, like, unless you guys come to the table and go, right, we'll give you this if you give that up. So,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll see how we go.
So it's more like, don't get the photo in the jersey, but you can do the deal.
Well, that's the thing. I don't really like. When were you going to post that photo?
Well, they probably.
Yeah.
Like-
I mean, you'd imagine they've got a shitload of time
And you've
between.
got IT. Get the Photoshop on.
Well, that's true.
Chuck in one of the jerseys. Chuck the head in there.
Well, that's what they
He's a big
do.
boy,
That's what
though.
they do
Maybe
for
just-
everything else.
Well, that's what
It's
all
like,
of
oh,
the-
imagine if this player played here. Photoshop.
Yeah.
bang. No, that's a good point.
Were you quoted the other day saying you think that the salaries should be made public? I feel like that might be not. I feel like there'd be players who'd be like, I don't want people knowing how much I'm getting paid.
Well, it's a two-edged sword. So I understand if you knew a player what he's getting, they'd be like, "Oh, you're shit" or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Thanks for nothing. But then at the same time, it's like everyone's like, "Oh, Melbourne Storm, we're cheating the salary cap." It's like, well, no, like,
Well, yeah,
we're,
but like-
players just taking less, you know. And it's
Yeah.
like, and it's always like, "Oh, that player's he's the reason we're going shit." It's like, no, it's your administration. You're who's signing these deals? Who's paying this guy X amount? Like, he should be under scrutiny, not like, you know,
The player who's-
It's
But
not
I
the
understand
players.
if- yeah,
it's not the
tough.
player's fault if he gets paid a shitload.
Yeah.
No, no, absolutely
Do you
not.
know what I mean?
I guess would it have the potential to cause unrest within its side if you've got a player being paid more than you and he's playing like shit, or if you're like, is there any risk of that sort
I
of?
don't know. It's hard. Like, I think it's natural because you generally got an idea. Like, one of my best mates is Mark Nichols, and
What a weapon!
like he was starting the whole year, right? And he's on like pretty honest contract, basic contract, and like Burgess and Dyer are on the bench. you know, and like,
Yeah, right.
I was like, mate, like unlucky, like you're going real good, but you're earning nothing compared to those boys.
Yeah.
But that's how it is, you know. It's like, yeah,
It is what it is.
it's the business. Like it's turning more and more into that. It's like NFL, NBA, like they publish it, they get on with it. They're professionals.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the end of the world. It'd be interesting as well because all these, you know, player salaries, reported player salaries always come out, and Denon's always like, water that down. Like it's always, is that the case when you read?
And always GST, the journal, they don't know.
No.
Like,
Mate.
I think I said I was on like 400, which I was this year, and then everyone's going, oh, well, it's on 650, and it's like so far off. What
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, like
actually
it's
on.
not close. Like, Jesus Christ.
I don't mind you saying that because my next contract, people go, oh, well, we might have to pay him that there because he's on that. But, yeah.
There's yarns, like, I was saying, we were talking this on Kempy's show, but you sort of hear this almost every year is what I was saying, was like, ooh, cracks at the Storm, what's going on? You know, like, first it was fucking Cronk leaving, then Slater retiring, then Smith retiring. It's like, well, when's the fucking golden run going to end? Are you worried the Storm are in trouble and probably falling out of the eight?
Oh, mate, every year they say.
Do you believe that you'll fall into a pile of poo like they say?
We've been meant to be falling into a pile every year since
know.
Cronk left.
It's
When was
fucking
that?
annoying.
17? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. We're laughing.
You
We're
good?
good to go.
Yeah. Well, I thought
You're looking
that-
over your shoulder, though, it's sort of the Manly Seagulls. Like,
boys
Manly
in the
Manly
north.
going this way, Storm sort of going, are we sort of going to pass each other on the way to us on the top?
There's a
and
bit
you
of
on the way?
respect there, certainly, but yeah, they're a good team.
Hard to play at Brookvale?
Good place to play if you're winning,
Yeah.
but like theatre,
Yeah, it's good
love
fun.
it.
Yeah, it's good.
Love it. Suburban ground's one of the best.
What
Well-
teams do you like from like a rugby league, like respectful rivalry, tribalism sort of thing? Like which opposition do you hate?
Like playing Manly, like playing Roosters, because I think there's like that, like
Quality
you're a
team
pretty good
rivalry.
team, we're a pretty good team. Like let's dance, like
Yeah.
happy days.
There's at least there's like relatively recent history, like
Yeah.
Manly and Melbourne went
Yeah.
back and forth for
Yeah,
so
yeah,
long.
yeah.
The Battle of Brookvale, all that shit built into it.
yeah, they're good. Queensland teams are good because we're all like a fair few Queenslanders.
What about dislike?
Dislike.
Like not necessarily the players, although it could be, but just like where you go, there's just something about it. Might not even be like from a like it's obviously all competitive, but like
Shark Park, like in the 2016, 17, that era, that's a shit place.
Yeah.
Like you play there and the crowd's India. Like, and so there should be. Like that's
Of course, that's
why we
what's
love
good about it, yeah.
Penrith's rough joint, like Para before they went into their beautiful stadium, Parramatta Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all pretty tough. Canberra's just tough to go because it's so fucking cold.
dude, fuck that. Are you guys all like fuck, dude?
Yeah, it's terrible. Like
Cold in
Melbourne's
Canberra.
cold, but Canberra's
Oh, mate, Canberra's on a different level entirely.
And Canberra's like at least Melbourne, the summer's hectic. Like 9 p.m. sunset, Australian Open. The summer's good, like
Yeah.
dry heat. Canberra gets like really hot, like you're not like, oh, summer's here, you're beauty. It's like fuck. It's
No,
summer.
it's pole.
Tough
It's
gig.
one extreme to the other. Do you
And
reckon
there's
that's
no
why
beach.
Ricky went fucking hunting so many poms? Because they're like, well, like England's a shithole, Canberra's a shithole.
Yeah, Canberra's
like,
a shithole.
It's a bit of a like.
It's slightly less cold in our shithole, and you don't know what a good beach is anyway, so it doesn't matter if it's fucking 400 degrees.
Yeah,
in
we've
summer.
got a lake. We've
Yeah,
got a
we've got a
lake.
lake, which is very dangerous for your health to swim in. But they
Don't
don't
swim in
know
it.
that.
You look at it. Don't swim in it.
We've got sprinklers you can run through.
How are we looking for the year ahead?
There you go. Let's give we'll
come
give
on.
Dio Dave this fucking
Give us a bit of
Melbourne
insight.
sycophant.
There's a few
turncoat.
Storm
We'll give
fans
you
who
a
listen to the
fucking-
pod.
Who we got? We've got
How are we
Tigers
looking?
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tigers, you must be fucking shitting yourself about that game.
Well, I mean, I just want to know, we beat Manly twice last year, and we only put 40 on them. Are we going for 50 this year? Or this coming year?
We gave him a fucking microphone, and this is how he repays us.
He's always going to take the opportunity.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we'll go right against Manly.
Yeah.
It's a good derby. See, that's the thing. Like, you ask me a question, I've got to give the nice answer, don't I?
you
Because
do.
if I don't, I sound like an arrogant dickhead.
Yeah, you
so I'm
struggle.
going to say, let's go. It'll be a good game.
There you go. Let's go.
There you go.
There you go. Let's go, baby.
Beautiful. Well, mate, thank you very much for coming in. Really appreciate it. Shout out to Big Tasty and the Tasty Boys. Good luck next year outside of games you're playing Manly and outside of State of Origin, but obviously we look forward to sitting up in the stands with you folks for whichever game.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
What game is it? It's
You pick.
I think you get 2 games. Queensland
No,
get 2.
no.
Perth.
First,
Oh, they always give one
one.
away, don't they?
I think it's New South
if
Wales,
I'm in
then
there, we're in.
Perth.
Sydney, Perth, Brisbane. Okay, well, if you'll be fucking in. Well, even if you're not in, we can all go together if you're not in.
I'll source them for you if I'm
There
not.
you go.
You'll be in.
Yeah, you'll be in.
You'll be in. All right, mate.
Sweet. Thanks,
Good to
boys.
yarn. Cheers.
Could you two just not talk anymore?